and welcome to Robin Minds Plus. My name is Desmond and I'm joined by Wine and Jazz New Establishment, one of the top 50 people that were picked on Wine and Jazz New Establishment, the amazing Itimi. Hello.
Hi Desmond, thanks for having me here.
That is I'm really excited to have you on the show Robin Minds Plus. I remember the first time we met at the Future Awards
dinner.
And then you were so receptive. Like a lot of the time I expect because I could be a lot when I come up to people, and then it's really difficult for a lot of people to match up with my energy and all of that. So I was just whining, and then I was like, the energy was still there, and I'm like, how are you doing it? But then, how have you been since then?
I've been good. It's been a very interesting ride from Future Awards, now the new establishment list. So I'm excited. It's been good.
But how does all of this make you feel?
That's how it makes me feel. But really, first of all, it makes me feel really proud of myself. I was saying to somebody recently that the Future Awards is the validation I didn't know that I needed. I mean, I know I wanted it, but I didn't know that I needed it. And it came, and I'm like, okay, this is really great. It means to me that what I'm doing matters, and people are seeing it, and people are recognizing it, and it's having an impact. And that's really amazing. And then the establishment list, shapers of the new decade. So when I first said, I'm like, oh, this is nice. Then I went back and I read, I was like, whoa, okay. People think that I'm a shaper of the new decade. So it's good. It's a little pressure because once you get into the limelight, everybody starts following you, expecting that there's a new big thing coming up. But aside that, it's really good.
But then, speaking about pressure that comes with, because I remember I was reading about you and how you started at the age of 21 and all of the accolades. Oh, she started really one of Nigeria's, one of the shapers, and then starting one of Nigeria's digital firms at 21 and all of that. So how did it all start for you?
So for me, it started, very weird story. It started in school. I was staying in university. So the backstory is I went to study medicine and surgery, but I didn't get in, so I studied medical biochemistry. But the plan was transfer to medical school in 200 level. So I had like 4.something CGPA, I was going to buy for me, and everybody should give me, so there's no space. So there was a period where I was sort of depressed because I'm like, oh my God, so I'm not going to study medicine, it's medical biochemistry. So I started writing. I wrote a lot, then that's when I got on Twitter. So one day I was just scrolling through Twitter, and I saw somebody that had a blog. I had no idea what it was, but I was curious. So, I mean, I clicked on it, said WordPress, and then when you click to the end of a WordPress blog, you would see create your own blog at WordPress. Again, curiosity, I clicked on it. So it just became another avenue to write and write and write. Then fast forward like a year later, I went for an event, and your friend said, oh my God, I'm reading your blog. And I'm like, eh? He's like, no, I'm reading your blog, I like what you're writing. He was like, you're so techie. And I didn't know anything about tech. I was just blogging with a phone at that particular point in time.
Blogging what stuff?
WordPress, yes. I was just writing inspirational stuff. I wake up in the morning, one number comes to my head, I'll just type it.
Aspire to
It was nothing too serious about it, but apparently, I mean, against the internet, somebody saw it and started following it and shared with his friends. And one of his friends happened to be a Google Center ambassador in Uniben at that time. So Alex saw me and said, oh, this is great, that you should apply for GSC program, like you're a total fit. I'm like, oh, okay. So when the application came out for the next year, he sent to me, and I didn't apply because I'm not techie.
What's
it's
GSC?
Google Student Ambassadorship. Okay. So when I came, I'm not techie, so I didn't feel, but then my friend was like, try. So I tried, and I got in. So I became the first Google Student Ambassador in Delta State University, and that's how it started. Went for a summit in Accra, and they were teaching us about two different things, programming and digital marketing. And when I heard digital marketing, my brain just lit up. And I think I fell in love with it then. Went back to school, read a lot about it, started training people, and then the journey just went on from there.
So do you think a lot of people a lot of successful people do not believe in luck, but do you think that all of your accomplishments, all of these things around digital marketing was as a result of luck?
There's a bit of luck. There's also a bit of curiosity and preparation. So why I say it's not just luck is the fact that if I wasn't doing anything, if I didn't stumble on blogging, and blogging was a result of curiosity. If I didn't stumble on it, that my friend would have not said, oh, you do this, meet this guy. And then that guy would have not go back to read the blog and say, oh, you actually would be like a good fit. And then if I didn't apply, which is for me the preparation part of just trying, then nothing would have clicked. Right? So yes, sometimes you get opportunities by luck, it just shows up, but what you do about them and how you approach them is what really matters, because what's luck if you don't do something?
Fantastic. It's been how many years now? since you
That
started
was
digital marketing?
2014, so
2014.
6th year. Makes me feel old.
I can
Unofficially 6 years.
I can actually guess your age now.
Everybody knows, I think. Let's move on.
Okay, so but then it's important how you mentioned the people in your life rather, your circle, people recommending you for stuff and just pointing out certain things and reading, even supporting your work and reading your blogs. Oh, you're surprised when you heard that. You're just writing, but then you saw somebody who was reading it, and somebody who recommended you for the Google program. So how important has those types of people been in your life and collaboration as well?
They're everything. I think if there's one thing that I'm very blessed with, it's a good network of people who care, and people who are always willing to say, hey, I know you're good for this, so this is an opportunity I think you can go. There's this thing I saw, you're a great fit for it, I'm sending you the link to apply. People who are there to push me. There are things I want to do, and I'm like, oh, I don't think I want to, but that's mistakenly tell a friend. And then friend just carries on top of their head and say, we have to make sure.
For you.
Yeah, like we have to make sure that you do this. So people for me have been everything. Just having the right network of people. Also, not just friends that are supportive, but also the right people in the right places. Because there are certain things that you can't have access to.
I like how you say right places.
Yeah, because there are certain things you wouldn't have access to except you know somebody in that place. So for some reason, I've been able to also build a good network. So I know people in different places. So when I need something here, I almost have an idea of the right person to collaborate with, or partner, or to ask questions. And that really just sets me apart.
I'm clear about the question, about how you answered it. But then, do you feel sometimes like when you get something, because you know there's some, when you because you know somebody there, it makes the what's it called? Like the way you feel about that win less. Do you feel less when you win certain things because of the people, because of the network of people that you have? Because I could have put in more work. I could have put in more work, but because I know this person, I got it easier. So
that's the thing, right? It's not really just because the way I see it is, people can get you into the room, but it's your work that will get you to the room.
Okay.
Right? So yes, sometimes you need people to open doors for you. Some people have opened doors for me before, but I know that just their name alone or their access alone cannot give me the opportunity except I apply myself. So I make sure that, and the other part of it is making sure that not just that I get it, but I do it so well that it makes the other person feel good. Because that's the thing about referring people. If you refer somebody that does a shitty work, it comes back to bite you. I want people to keep giving me opportunities. So every time somebody gives me one, I make sure I did so well. So that the person who you referred me to is like, oh, thank you for that plug, or you're really nice. And the next time, person is like, oh, peace, you're always doing it. So come on, So I mean, for me, because I have that mindset of one, I don't want the other person that referred me to feel bad. And two, I need to make sure that I do the work so I can get the opportunities. I always apply myself. So when it does come, I know it's a mixture of two things. My work, but also, this person that helped me. So I don't think it makes me feel, I'm not done it well or anything.
All right, great. So it's been 6 years. Have you grown? Because it's something that you stumbled on and all of that. Have you been able to move up the ranks and learn and become big?
So, I mean, I have
to a point where you're not recognized. Are you even going back to medicine?
Of course not, dude.
No, for the degree, the people that like me from watching. From watching
when I was graduated, I told my mom already that that doctor that you want is not me that will do it for you.
Oh, you were not interested in medicine.
I wasn't anymore. By the time I became a Google Student Ambassador, I already knew that it will not work. By the time I was graduating, I was super sure that I'm not going back to study medicine. I was super sure that I was not going to use that medical biochemistry certificate. It was just very clear that, no, I would rather pursue this. So my mother, she was heartbroken for a while. But I think now that she's seen their code, she's like, oh, okay, this path that you chose, it's like there's something there.
You really took her away.
Do you understand? But so how have I grown? I've evolved a lot. Sometimes I think back to the first digital marketing campaign I ran, and I almost feel sorry for the person. I want to call the person and give the person money. Because I'm like, what did I do then? Because there's so much knowledge, so much experience I've gotten over the years. And for me, it's just an ability or opportunity to keep learning and keep learning and keep learning. I've done plenty of things. I've moved from one company to another. So I started when I was running the digital agency, we need Digital Hub. I had the 9 to 5 at Web Coopers. I moved from Web Coopers to training manager to head of marketing, now to growth lead Africa. So it's been a lot of, it's been a lot of evolution, yeah. But if there's one thing that I have seen is that when you do your work really well and you put yourself out there, it's easier to grow and grow fast, right? Because some people grow, but they're growing in little speed because nobody knows what they're doing. So I have a mix of both. I think I do my job really well whenever I'm given something to do, but I also know how to project myself to the world. So when you mix those two things, it's easier for opportunities to come. I'm like, oh, you can do this. So I've been moving a lot faster than some of my peers because I've been able to put myself out there and really tell my story and let people know this is what I do and this is what I'm good at.
So how you mentioned that when you started your own digital agency, you still had a 9 to 5. How were you able to combine both?
It was a lot. So
did you feel you were cheating on? Because I like to see work as a relationship. Did you feel like you were cheating on the company that hired you at the time?
No, really. So before I got into the company, they knew that I had the side gig. So Renee then was the side gig. So we mentioned it. And one of the conversation we had, contract, was you're not stealing our clients or anything. If it comes to Web Coopers, it's Web Coopers, right? And I try to always retain that boundary. It doesn't matter what I'm doing outside my job. I can never take something that is for the company I'm working for to my personal. Never, it never works. So that was very clear. And I think they trusted me enough. So I was doing a lot of work there, but there was a very huge distinction between, there's Peace Renee and there's Web Coopers agency. So that never really came up. But one of the reasons why we eventually, myself and my co-founder, paused Renee at some point was because I got to a point and I realized that I would not effectively scale this business if I don't give it 100% of my attention. Because it was a company, but it was a side gig, right? So I came to the crossroad of, you have to decide on full-time entrepreneurship right now or keep the your 9 to 5 career. But I'm a spiritual person, so I just knew in my heart that it's not the right time to fully push building an organization. So we have to be like, see, we can't scale as much as we can and build an actual company by just giving it 40% of our attention. So let's pause and see what will come back in the next couple of years.
But you enjoy the 9 to 5?
Of course.
Yeah,
because the money is good too.
I was
but yes,
8 figures, 7 figures.
Let's leave. But I mean, I do enjoy working on my job.
All right, fantastic. So finally, let's talk about the other things that you're involved in. I personally listened to your podcast, the Vulnerability Podcast. The other part of the podcast, is she your co-founder for?
No, she's not, just my friend.
Okay, just your friend. So why the decision to speak on, because a lot of the topics, a lot of the conversations you have on that podcast, they are conversations that a lot of people shy away from. So I remember when I listened to one of the podcasts and I ran to your both DMs. I was following you at the time, but then I wasn't following her.
Yeah.
So I ran to her DM and I was like, thank you so much for this podcast. It was really, I would really love to help in any way for another episode. And then I also did the same to you as well. So why the decision to speak on these topics that are tagged controversial and a lot of people shy away from?
So, like you said, people shy away from certain topics, right? There's this idea that social media is curated, so it's a facade. Not a total facade, but there's a large context of everything is good. I will only put up my victories, I will put up the awards, the accolades, we'll only talk about vacation. You know, just these things that make everybody look really awesome and really good. But in reality, everybody that does this, we have stuff that we're going through. We have struggles, we have pains, we feel real stuff, but nobody talks about it. Now, that's one start. The other part is, I see a lot of people come to my page, please Itimi mentor me, you're doing amazing, oh my God, how are you doing everything you're doing? But I'm like, do you realize I'm also a human being like you and I feel this way? So I wanted an avenue where I could, one, show people more of my humanness, so that you know that this person who's inspired you also deals with the same. I think you used that line in the podcast. So this person who's inspired is also a human being like you and I feel the same thing. But also so that we can just generally spark up a conversation where more people are vulnerable. And that's where the Vulnerability Podcast comes. So we say that we explore everything that makes us human, unapologetically human. Our breakups, our pain, our failures, disappointments, friendships, just everything that we know that we typically feel, but you only talk to maybe your best buds about it because you don't want people in your office to know that there's something going on in your chest. So that was the whole idea, and it's been the response has been really great, the impact has been really great, and I'm really proud of it because it was a pet project. I'm just like, I love that we're able to do this, and for the people who listen, they got something out of it, and that was for me.
I remember when you dived into the topic of religion, and then you're like, we're going to I remember the post that you're like, we're going to shake tables. Do you feel like you deliberately address some of those topics to actually push certain conversations first, and also to shake the polity a little? just shake
I mean, there's a little bit part of shake the table, just shake it small. But there's also just a part of, this thing is real anyway. Why are we shying away from it? Why shouldn't I be able to share stories about certain aspects of people's lives just because it will offend your sensibilities, right, or your sensitivities? So I'm like, I'm sorry if I offend your beliefs, but we're going to talk about this anyway because it's real to people, right? People are going through, it's people's reality. So why just because you'll be offended by man? So we're going to do it, and if it makes you think, good. If it makes you want to break my head, well, you can't do it.
Has there been anybody like that?
No, there hasn't. Thankfully, I think for some reason we have like a really good audience. So everybody has been said, or maybe people who want to shake table will just be like, say it in their minds, but then they won't comment or send us emails. So that's your business. That's really their business.
All right, fantastic. So thank you so much for all of this, and congratulations on being part of the new establishment of Wine & Just New Establishment, shaping the culture in the coming years. Coming years. So I wish you all the best. So finally, fashion inspiration, because I love your fashion. I live for your sneakers. I live for your choice of sneakers and how you play with all of them. So fashion inspiration.
Comfort. That's my fashion inspiration. There's nothing there. It's just comfort. The most important thing for me when I stand up every day is that I'm comfortable in my own skin. That's the most important thing. So I've tried to dress in other ways that would make people feel like, oh, you're more feminine. It doesn't work. That's the honest truth. And because I speak a lot, I'm very conscious of how I feel before I go on stage. So there's a time when I'm like, nobody would take me serious if I'm going on sneakers and stuff. So I was wearing short dresses and stuff. But every time I go on stage, I'm super conscious. I'm self-conscious because I'm trying to do my stuff like this. I'm just super, and I'm like, no, I don't feel like I would give my best delivery if I'm self-conscious about my dressing. So I was like, what makes you most confident and comfortable? When I'm going to speak, blazers makes me feel confident. I feel like if I walk into the room, it doesn't matter who's seated there. Once I say hello, they will listen to me. So I will pick that, blazers and jeans, trousers, and sneakers that makes me feel comfortable than something that would make people feel like, oh, you're so cute. Nah, comfort it is anytime, any day.
But do people still say, oh, you're so cute with this? Because I feel like it's really
yeah, people have gotten
because it's different, because it's like
style.
You're pushing, when you step into the room, you're definitely going to be really different. Even now, I feel, when you came in, I told you that you looked pretty cooler than me, and I'm like, oh my God, should I go and change?
I'm a fine girl, so any other way, I'll just get compliments. But people are getting used to this is how I'm dressed, and at the end of the day, it's what's really inside, right? So plus the most important thing is I don't really care what you think, right? So even if I come into the room, I don't really care because I'm comfortable in my own skin. That's really the most important thing for me.
I love her.
Oh!
You're too dramatic. Please, I take that back.
Not as much as you know, bro.
All right, it's been a fantastic episode of Robin Minds Plus, celebrating the fantastic Itimi.
Thank you for having me.
Be sure to check her out, follow her.
Itimi everywhere.
Follow her work. Check her podcast, the Vulnerability Podcast. It's been an amazing episode. My name is Desmond. See you on the next.